What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It's a beautiful morning here in Saskatchewan. It is the middle of April now. Fishing season is closed. I still gotta patiently wait 3 more weeks till opening day on May 5th. Cannot wait. I have an itch in my heart. I gotta do something about it. But in the meantime, stop the spool, good. No backlash. In the meantime, I'm organizing my open water gears. I do have plans to use my Baitcaster setup a lot more this year. I've been practicing quite a bit and I think I finally got the hang of it. So what I have here is the Daiwa Tatula CT 100. I got 30-pound J braid on there, and then the rod I use, it's a 13 fishing Oman Black 3, 7'1" medium heavy. Honestly, I think it's a great combo just to cast medium to large size bait, lure fishing. I'll be using this for walleye and mostly pike fishing, something like this. Like a small paddle tail, pre-rigged swim bait. But the topic of today's video is me showing you why I think the Daiwa MagForce Z magnetic braking system is one of the best out there. I think it's very smart. It's great for beginners, anyone who's looking into getting your first bait casting reel. It is just user friendly and just great for beginners. And the one model I have there is quite budget friendly too. So I'm gonna show you some casts. All right, so I got the MagForce style at 4. Hopefully you can see that. Spool tension, just small wiggle, no knocking. I mean, no like real movement. Zero adjusted. No backlash. Very easy to manage. Let's do another one. Just stop the spool at the end of the cast before it hits the ground or the water. That's like easily 40 meters out there. Stop the spool, no backlash. No backlash, easy peasy. Super good for beginner learning how to use a baitcaster. You're gonna get backlash, but once you get your rhythm in and your setting right, man, it casts like a dream. Alright guys, I think that was pretty impressive casts with the Tatula CT with the MagForce Z system. It can whip out easily 40 meters, and that's, I think, way more than enough than what I need for bank casting, you know. So that is awesome. So let's get inside. Let's take a closer look at the reel, look at the internal MagForce Z braking system, and let me explain why I think this is one of the best long cast, beginner friendly baitcaster out there. Alright, so in front of me are the 2 Daiwa Tatula reels that I currently own. On the right side being the Tatula CT 100. I've owned this reel for a year now. This is actually my first baitcaster. I spent a lot of time practicing with this reel, learning the basics of using a baitcaster. Yeah, it's been pretty impressive. I can now cast long distance with it thanks to the MagForce braking system, which is the topic of today. And because I love the Tatula so much, I got another Tatula. This is the new Tatula 80 that came out last year, 2022. This one is a much smaller frame, smaller spool, shorter handle. Everything is just a little smaller, more compact, cleaner. You know, no screws. This is meant for more finesse fishing. I'll be using it for casting smaller jigs, you know, 1/4 ounce. This spring for walleye and pike. Yeah, I can't wait to use it. I'll do a separate review video of this reel. But yeah, this Tatula CT, I think, I believe it's been a pretty good seller on Tackle Warehouse website. Because it's budget friendly, I got this reel for $130 Canadian. That was on sale a year ago. on Black Friday, and yeah, I just couldn't pass it up. I watched a bunch of review videos. People really like this Tatula CT. Yeah, and I can personally attest that this is definitely good for a beginner who wants to learn the basics of baitcasters. You know, there's like the Shimano DC reels that are much more expensive, but I think to learn, you know, the mechanical brakes, the magnetic brakes, how they work in conjunctions, and the spool tension and everything, this is definitely good for beginners. You know, now the Daiwa MagForce braking system has been around for a while, like I think over a decade for sure. The latest iteration is their MagForce Z, which is used in both reels, and that's a topic we're going to talk about today. I'm going to explain what is MagForce Z, how it works, and why I think it's super user friendly, right? So Daiwa believes their MagForce Z braking system is so good that in most cases you don't really need to adjust the spool tension knob. On the 80, as you can see, this is called the zero adjuster. It's a much more muted color, and it's thin, it's short, it's hard to turn. You're actually not supposed to turn it. It comes in factory set. So basically when you get this reel out of the box, it's already factory tuned. That this is from my research on Daiwa's website. They set the spool tension to a point where it only allows 0.2 millimeters of side-to-side wobble. So, you know, it's not super loose, but it's not super tight that restricts the flow, you know. Yeah, you know, and that's why this one costs a little bit more. This one is at $200. I got from Japan, actually much cheaper than retails in Canada. You'd pay $280 plus tax, you know, on that reel. On the other hand, on the Tatula CT, the much cheaper reel, it does not come with a zero adjuster. But if you follow the principles, the ideas of zero adjust or zero position, you can actually set the spool to a point where, you know, it's just knocking, like slight knocking, but not like movement. You know what I mean? I'll probably make a separate video to show you how to get your non-zero adjust MagForce Daiwa reels to set. Daiwa made it so easy, right? The only thing you need to worry about is the MagForce dial. It's gonna do all the work for you depending on your wind condition, lure weight. All you need to do is just tune this dial. So yeah, what is MagForce Z, right? Let's open up the side plate and see what's inside. So there's just one screw keeping the side plate, and you can use a nail. I'm gonna use a coin, turn it counterclockwise. Okay. It pops out, it's spring loaded. You wouldn't lose this screw. That's very nice. And you just twist down and you just pull out. So that's the internal. Unlike, like Shimano centrifugal braking systems, you don't have to, open the side plate, go inside and tune the internal brakes. There's nothing to adjust. It's just one dial, okay? So this is what makes up the MagForce Z braking system. There's two parts. One being the magnets, and then your rotor, okay? Your spool and rotor inductor. So we'll talk about the side plate here first. Now, as you can see, there's two rings, gray color. These are actually two magnets. I don't know exactly how it works, but when you have two magnets, it creates a magnetic field. As you turn the dial, by the way, this is MagForce dial, max being 20 and 0 being the least braking force, right? As you turn the dial, you see the outer range moves around, right? And by changing that position, you're changing the magnetic field, which changes the magnetic force, right? So how it works in conjunction with the spool, I'll take the spool off. So here's your spool, pretty standard long shaft. This is a 34mm spool. Here you have this gold cup piece, right? That's your rotor inductor. It's not a fixed inductor. It can extend out. It's spring loaded, right? So it fits perfectly in between the two magnets. So the influence of the magnetic force will be applied on the rotor to, apply braking force to slow down the spool, right? So basically, when you make a cast, in the beginning of the cast, the lure shoots out, pulls the line, and then starts rotating the spool. And you reach max speed basically at the beginning of the cast. That rotating motion creates a centrifugal force, which makes the rotor extend out, right? When it extends out, it extends deeper into the gap in between the magnets, which the most magnetic force is applied, right? So as the lure travels through the sky, in the second half of the cast, the spool started to slow down its rotation and the rotor pulls back in, which then less magnetic force is applied on the rotor, so less braking, right? So, like I said, this is not a simple magnetic braking system. It's not a fixed force applied on the entirety of the cast, but it's rather a dynamic braking system, which is really good, right? Which is really intelligent. That's going to make the cast further, especially on the second half of the cast. It's going to extend the life of that cast, and it's going to give you less backlash. So basically, that's how it works. It's pretty smart. Shout out to the engineers at Daiwa. By the way, I want to mention that when you first get your reel out of the box, this happened to both of my Tatulas. It came in so dry. This being my first baitcaster, I didn't know it was dry, right? What did I know? So I started casting. I felt like the cast wasn't that smooth until I watched some videos and read some forums, right? So yeah, I strongly recommend when you get your reel, apply some oil on each side of the shaft, inside here in the bearing, open up the tension knob cap, give it half a drop in there. It's gonna make the cast, I'd say, like 15% smoother, right? Pro tips for you guys. Let's put it back together. So just like how you open it, you twist it, then just tighten up this screw. Pretty easy, right? I know there's like a bunch of different braking technologies out there. I think the DC reels are pretty sick. They have like a microchip computer inside the reel to adjust your braking at a very tight time interval. That's pretty cool. But for beginners, if you don't want to break the bank, definitely look out for sales. Even regular price, this is worth it. Look out for sales this spring. Actually, I think there's a couple of online stores in Canada that are doing sales. You can get this or other MagForce Z reels they're all good. They all use the same braking system. I believe the Tatula CT, obviously, the Fuego CT, the Tatula 100, that one also has a zero adjust. The 80, but above the 80, you're really getting into like a mid-tier price point, right? You're getting into like $250. I'm not sure if you want to spend that much, but I'll see if it's worth it. So that's pretty much it on the explanation of MagForce Z braking system. Those of you who want to get into baitcasters, get yourself a Daiwa Tatula. You won't regret it. I'll be using Baitcasters quite a bit this spring, so look out for new videos. We just have 1 month left to wait for opening day. Alright? Thank you for watching. Peace. Bye-bye.